you're saying it's important to stay true to your character,
over.
right, and to try to develop a resolution that's going to be passed, and that's true to your person that you're representing.
That's a great
right.
thing.
I know, right? It's gonna be wild.
Do you have a delegate binder? That's amazing. Okay, nice. So
like 2 papers in that huge thing.
I have a lot here.
Creating a delegate binder is an important part of the process, yes.
When you started.
And it's also intimidating, which is good if it's a giant binder.
I don't have things on the table.
So
That's me.
the first sheet of this packet that you have is just the,
Thanks.
I'm sorry we're late.
that's okay. Thank you guys so much for coming. I know it's a Friday night. This was a big sacrifice. It really means you guys care about Molly UN. Okay, but yeah.
Let's be.
I know.
Let's get some food talk. If we're here, we feed somewhere else with the same people that are.
This is,
Coffee does not mean I'm mobile, like donuts.
did you guys, oh yeah, there were only 3 there. So the first sheet is an example of a resolution that would get proposed. So this is the type of thing, this is your end goal to develop something like this. This is the end goal of the conference, and then you present it to the group. Hopefully we'll be able to develop something like this in the course of this process tonight, but it's going to be like a modified version of it. And hopefully you can recruit somebody who's a returning member who can help you write it.
I got one now. Does
anyone need this packet? No, got it now? Okay. So yeah, the first page is just an example of a resolution. And then the second page is these preambulatory clauses. These are the first half of the resolution, which you're going to just draw really heavily upon your returning members to help you write this part of it. This will be like in the second half of the conference. And then the second part is what you actually are asking to have done. Yes.
When we're noting, are we going to just say United States Congress?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, like so, yeah, we'll have to, just make this work with our little conference, which is not the United Nations. Okay, and then the next section is just general vocab about debate, which you really aren't going to have to know today, but it's good for in the future. You'll have two Yale students who are in charge of your committee, at least 2, and they're called the dais. They're the people in charge of the group, and they'll be running everything, and that's kind of what I'll be doing. I'm not really concerned about sticking perfectly to what I'm supposed to say, because this is just practice mostly with public speaking and expressing your ideas, your person's ideas, speaking on behalf of someone else. But if you're a returning student and I'm saying something that they totally wouldn't say, don't be shy about saying like, no, that would never happen. That's fine. That's fine. Because you guys actually really know more about Model UN than I do. It didn't exist in my high school, so what I know is just from observing at the conference and from sort of reading a lot about Model UN. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm just going to show this short clip of somebody speaking at a public hearing about gun control. This is in 2013, and I just then want us to just think about what's good about what he said, the content, and just the way he said it. And this is just something that you probably want to try to replicate at Model UN. Okay. Oh, something else that's really great about this is they're cutting him off at the end, which could happen to you because you're only going to get 30 seconds at the beginning of this conference, and typically you only get 30 seconds, and then later you get 1-minute chunks of time. So you do get cut off usually. Okay.
Followed by Justin Holstrom, Jason Tetlow, Thomas Philippines, number 659. Thank you. Please proceed.
Yeah. My name is Enzo. Forgive me, English is not my first language. I am a legal immigrant, and I am an American by choice. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to express my opinion and give my testimony in opposition to the majority of the proposed bills which do nothing to deter future crimes. Gun control does not work. Your own history is replete with high school rifle teams, Boy Scout, marksmanship merit badges. You could buy rifles at the hardware stores. You could order them, mail order, delivered to your home. Your country was awash in readily available firearms and ammunition. And yet, in your past, you did not have mass school shootings. Other people have already expressed the question, what changed? It was not that the availability of guns suddenly exploded or increased. It actually was decreased. What was changed was societal decay. If gun control actually did work, Washington, D.C. and Chicago would be the safest cities in your nation, but it is not. They have the toughest gun laws and the highest crime and murder rates. Now, some people have asked and called the AR-15, they call the AR-15 a weapon of mass killing. Well, it turns out that there are a few government agencies which disagree with that characterization. The Department of Homeland Security has stated that a rifle chambered in 5.56 NATO with a 30-round magazine is suitable for personal defensive use. Documentation on that, it is HSCEMS-1212-00011, solicitation for the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Now, who needs an AR-15 with 30-round mags? That question has also been brought up. And I would like to put forward that had the Koreans in the LA riots not had AR-15s and AK-47s with 30-round magazines and Ruger 30s, their businesses would have been burned to the ground like all of the other businesses in their neighborhoods. Theirs stood because they stood their ground. I would also put forward the conjecture that had the 10,000 students at Tiananmen Square not been unarmed, things may not have resulted in so many of them disappearing. In your own laws, United States versus Miller, 309, U.S. 174, 1939, it was made clear that the type of firearms protected by the Second Amendment were those specifically useful and common for military use in defense of the state. I would like to note that the state is not the government. The state is the people. In Lewis, in Lewis versus United States, 1980, it is stated that the Second Amendment guarantees no right to keep and bear a firearm that does not have some reasonable relationship to the preservation and efficiency of a well-regulated militia. It has nothing to do with hunting. The militia, as per the debates in the convention, shows plainly enough that it is composed of all males physically capable of acting in concert for common defense. And further, that ordinarily, when called for service, these men were expected to appear bearing arms supplied by themselves and of a kind in common use at the time. The AR-15 is the most common and popular rifle in America at its time.
Would you please wrap up?
I will wrap up. I would like to wrap up with a statement from Judge Andrew Kozinski in Sylvania vs. Lockyer, 2003. My excellent colleagues have forgotten these bitter lessons of history. The prospect of tyranny may not grab the headlines the way vivid stories of gun crime usually do, but few saw the Third Reich coming until it was too late. The Second Amendment is a doomsday provision, one designed only for those exceptionally rare circumstances when all other rights have failed. A free people can only afford to make this mistake once.
Thank you.
Alright, and I don't mean to imply this is perfect. It's not. I just thought it had some interesting elements to it and some things you could learn from. So what do you think is positive about the information he put forth?
He gave a lot of evidence to what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't just say things, he had stuff to back it up.
And he referenced actual U.S. cases.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you have a number or a date
Yeah.
to go into use
I know, she doesn't even
It
have to
sounds
read
totally
it. It just
legit.
has to be a
Automatically
number.
validated.
Yeah,
by
somebody
everybody.
should today. We should see if somebody could do it, like pretend and reference some law.
Just make a law.
And then
Sure, right.
you could call people out on it, like
Right,
bogus.
some
No,
numbers.
that's real. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, he had some SAT vocab. He had replete. Hopefully, that's on your SAT tomorrow, Sophie. You're taking it tomorrow.
Oh, that's a bummer.
What else was good about it? Any other observations?
Yeah, sure.
Passionate.
He was a very good speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he was really good at getting the audience on his side.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if he got like the what.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you hear people like applauding him once in a while. Yes.
Mhm.
That does
And using historical examples.
Yeah,
as
no,
well
that
is
doesn't
good.
really happen
Yeah.
yet, especially in Mali when no one claps.
Right, people
It's a
aren't really going to
competition.
clap at
No one, yeah,
Model
no one cares.
UN.
I mean,
They just want to be done. No one's nice like that. No one cares.
And definitely don't ignore the chairs when they're telling you you're done.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I thought the way he wrapped it up was nice. How did he
Yeah,
wrap
but
it up?
how you went? The only thing I would say is,
Mhm.
if they say, "Can you please wrap up?" I wouldn't bring up another point because you can
Right.
cut them off really easily.
Right.
Well, was it going off the bell to sing?
That's
Yeah,
like
to
30
tell him
seconds.
his time.
Yeah,
was
it's
up,
like
yeah.
a minute. He did a minute and every 30 seconds.
Yeah, I ran like 3 times.
Mhm. Yeah. I think something that's made me realize is it might be nice to just have a printout of some quotes of different lengths so that you sound kind of polished when you're wrapping up a speech
Yeah.
because it can be awkward to wrap up when they're telling you have 5 seconds left. So you could say, in closing, I'd like to quote.
Or like for these, for like the reasons.
Like,
of-
Oh.
for the first thing you say, or like
Yeah.
for the last thing you say before you like
Yeah.
have a resolution voted for.
Right.
His last statement, as you were saying
Mhm.
something about his wrap-up, was a very powerful statement.
Mhm.
Like, he's really making a point that, you know, beware of a society that makes its citizens relinquish their weapons, because we should learn from the past. If the citizenry, in this case he calls us the state, has no way to defend themselves against the larger body, the government, then what happens one day? The government decides to impose its power on the people, and you have no way to protect yourself against that. So, I mean, I wouldn't have thought about that. I generally don't tend not to think about that, but it's an interesting idea. And he brings up Nazi Germany as an example of that. Like, what if all the Jews had been armed? You know, could the Nazis have marched through and done what they did? Maybe, because maybe they would have had bigger, stronger weapons. I mean, in the end. But he's making the point that, you know, if you surrender your arms, where are you against the state? So a powerful closing statement, I think,
Mhm.
you know, can turn the tide for you.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because it's an appeal to emotion. I think that it's a strategy we can use.
It's a fallacy.
It's exactly. Yes.
It's a fallacy,
But it's a powerful fallacy, one that politicians frequently use. I don't remember if I attached it. Let's see, probably not yet. Oh no, I did. Okay. This in here, I have a bunch of information about. So I have a bunch of political speeches that are really using the appeal to emotion. So they're mostly from people who are running for president, and so they're just kind of anecdotes about people in society, which can be very effective in almost any committee you're in. If you can find an anecdote about a person living in the country that's affected by whatever problem is going on, you know, it makes the issue more pressing, and it makes it just seem more real to people. So, for example, like if you were in a committee about malaria, if you could find an anecdote about a person who was actually affected by malaria, that's a nice way to just
Personal.
really, yeah, tug on people's heartstrings. And
So what is that, pathos, logos, you know, and
Ethos is
ethos,
ethics.
right, those basic
yeah,
principles
Logos,
apply
I think,
here.
is logic. I think
Mhm.
pathos
is emotion, right? Yeah.
Pathos
I used to
is
know. I
emotion.
used to teach philosophy, and now I'm
That's
writing a
what it
master's
is.
degree, so I'm not. I don't remember.
Right, but that emotional appeal, and you know, in so many instances, I don't particularly like the Nazi card, but when people want to
Mhm.
have an emotional appeal, that's always, you know, one thing they fall back on. He brought up Tiananmen Square, right? That was, didn't he mention that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And sort of this idea there, then, you know, what would have ensued differently.
Yeah. So this is something hopefully I could print out for you guys. These are just tons of logical fallacies that people employ all the time in Model UN unintentionally. Like, so one example, and it'd be really fancy if when somebody uses this fallacy, if you say that's a disjunctive syllogism, because the Yale students are gonna love it because they're total nerds. It just means, yeah, you can only have one or the other. You can't have both, which usually isn't true. Usually you can't have both situations. So,
Wait, let me write that word down.
yeah, disjunctive syllogism, it just means,
A lot of these.
it means that you're saying you can only have one or the other, which usually isn't true. Sometimes it's true. So this is something I'll try to remember to print for you guys for your delegate binder, because it'd just be a nice thing to have if somebody is arguing a point and it just isn't jiving, but you can't put your finger on why it's illogical. It's nice to have this list of classic illogical syllogisms. They're mostly like syllogisms setting up relationships between ideas. So that's a good thing to have. Okay. All right, so, the other thing that I wanted to mention is just with notes. Normally at Model UN, you'll have a person who will pass notes around, but I don't want to take someone out of the action because all of you guys want to actually participate completely, right? So we were thinking if you really need to pass a note to another person, you can just get up and go give the note to them. Because that is a part of Model UN. It's pretty hectic, the note passing.
Are they forming alliances in here? Is the note taking a part of like trying to find an
Yeah,
ally?
definitely, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So typically the notes will say something like, I really agree with what you said about this. Let's work on a resolution that includes that. And then you could also say like, you know, I have Missouri and Alaska on board. Let's meet during the next unmoderated caucus. That's a part of the conference where you get to just meet more informally in small groups. And it's usually 10 minutes. We'll probably have that like after you guys finish the 30-second presentations about what your general view is. Yeah.
So we do the 30-second
Yeah.
presentation, and then do we break off and try and create
I'm
a
probably,
resolution?
yeah, I think I'm probably gonna have you guys do it on moderated caucus after you do your,
Right after this.
it'll probably be like 30
General
seconds, then it'll be moderated
Yeah.
caucus for about 10 minutes. Yeah, like
That
10
sounds
minutes.
better.
Then probably an unmoderated caucus, yeah. So moderated caucus is
Let's do it.
like you add your name to the list. Okay, so let's get started because we don't have a lot of time. So, okay, so if you want to get, let me just open a Word document so I can type the speakers list. Okay.
Can I get my placards?
Huh?
Can I get my placards?
Yeah, they're there. I think I had. Okay. Matt, I don't know what seat are you?
Arizona.
Oh yeah, that's in there somewhere. Okay. All right, so yeah, just raise your placard if you want to be added. Oh, you're first. Huh?
Well, yeah, motion to open the speakers list.
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, okay.
30 seconds.
Are there any points or motions on the floor? Nevada.
Motion to open the speakers list with a 30-second speech.
Great idea. Recognized. Okay.
No, we don't want to do that.
Okay.
What are the other things you could even do? Oh, you'd say like motion to discuss
I've
topic
always wanted
A.
that. If no one opened the conference, we just not do it. Is that thing?
No,
Or like if you
that happened
saw-
for about
Okay, can you
3 or
raise your
4
placard
years.
high so I can add you?
Because
Okay. And try to have them oriented correctly. What's it?
You always got that one kid that's stuck up.
No, did someone else take you? You could just take a blank paper and write it on it. Matt, what are you? Your placard's not easy. Oh, sorry, that's my fault. Okay,
Oh, wait, I
gotcha.
can talk first. I can probably figure out this.
Okay, Texas,
Let's get on.
Matt.
What do I have for these draft resolutions?
Yeah, just take one of them.
You know.
Yeah, you could just take that, yeah. Okay, Pennsylvania. This is great. You guys are all taking advantage of this and participating. Good.
I just gotta figure out what I'm saying.
Okay, did I miss any? Arkansas?
Okay. So wait, so for this speakers list, you want us to just stand up and kind of talk
I
about
think it'd be good to stand, right?
not
Should they come up here? Just there, where you are?
I think they should stand and come to the front, don't you think?
If you were at a conference last year, like Jillian, did you stand where you were in your
We
conference?
had like 300 people, so
Yeah.
we went up to a podium like
Okay.
that. I stand where we were.
We were, yeah. I had like
Yeah.
25 people.
Small,
We just-
small
Stood where you
groups.
were.
But
yeah,
actually,
when I was in a smaller one,
Okay.
we stood up.
I had 25 people and we went up.
Okay.
I remember sitting in
Did
on
you guys
one
hold
where
like
they
separate
said,
conferences? Or was
I kind of think, don't you guys think it's harder to come up to the front, so that's what we should do?
I was gonna say it's harder, so we should.
So,
But we should.
Yeah, let's have you come up to the front, because that will also just give you practice with not fidgeting and things like that, which I'm a terrible role model for, but it's something you should try to do. Okay, did I miss anybody for the speakers list?
I was just talking about like world health, like overall.
In New York, yeah.
Bro, smallpox back, right?
Small talks, yeah. I love that back again.
Oh yeah, and this I'm just gonna say, no Ebola jokes at Model UN. I don't want us all to get sent home, so let's just put that out there now.
How you want jokes are the worst.
You need Ebola jokes.
Ebola jokes are funny.
Are there two New York?
I saw a shirt that
I mean,
said
like,
ask
I'm
me
not
about
even-
my
not even
Ebola virus.
familiar with the
Right here, and then,
Huh?
I'm like,
you flip the
he's
shirt
not
up
even
right
like
here, there's like a
affiliated
gas
with the
mask.
state, really.
The person you're, it's okay, yeah, it's fine. Okay,
Tell me that's not the funniest thing you've ever done.
all right. Do you guys have any questions before we get this going?
Wait, so you want me to just stand up and talk about?
I'd like you guys to come to the front because I think it's a little more challenging, a little more likely that that's what they'll have you do. It's different in different committees. Al?
Yeah.
Biden. Oh, great.
Biden.
I'm
You're
Biden.
Biden, and these are governors, fellow governors.
Okay, I'll try and put my foot in my mouth.
Esteemed,
one
esteemed Biden.
Esteemed Biden.
Esteemed
Yes, please
Biden.
call me that.
Fellow-
Sorry, Sophie, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, I don't
Honorable
know,
Biden.
because like last year someone was so formal, like all the time.
Oh yeah, you can be too formal.
Yeah,
Someone's
so
super Biden.
formal, like, she got a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because it takes a lot of time. Yeah. So yeah, do what sounds right to you, and you know people will do different things and do what you think sounds best. I think saying that big wind up honorable delegates, esteemed chairs, that's a lot for every single time you talk. Yeah, but especially if you're one of the first people, it's good to say it because you're just showing I know Model UN. I know that this is typically what people will say to introduce their position. Okay, do you guys have any other questions?
Biden's the one person that we would rather not be president than Obama.
I wish I had a Biden
That's why he
mask.
hasn't
I
been,
should have worn
why he
it.
hasn't been assassinated yet.
Okay, yeah, and I have the time here, so I'm just gonna like
We go over there.
not abuse the piano when the time's up. I'll just like
So not abused.
do something.
I mean, we can move it over.
Yeah,
It's
why
not a
don't we
deal.
move it over? That's a good idea.
Does it? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's got wheels.
Yeah, I've seen people move it.
Should I do that?
You could
Yeah, move it
centralize
over,
it.
just so it's not right in front of the screen, but next to it.
John, what you doing?
Wheel it.
John, what you doing? John, you want?
Trying to wheel the podium.
Okay, you want to look this way.
No, the wheels are on that side.
Wheels are on the side.
Stefan, you can help him with that.
Yeah, Stefan.
Because he's
I'm special. This is tricky.
I'm
So
excited
what-
that you didn't scratch the floor.
I know.
Oh,
Okay.
such a production.
So what? It's hard to know. It's tricky. So what? For this first speech, you just want us to talk, introduce ourselves?
Yeah, just kind of say like who you
And what we
are,
do.
what you normally would.
Should I talk, bring up what I believe or no?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say what you believe. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys, for these 30-second intros, do you think 45 is better?
Yes. No. Yes.
Okay. And for this, they say I yield my time to the chair if they have extra
You
time.
yield during a speaker's
Well,
address.
yield to
Yeah.
Biden at this point.
Yield to Biden.
I yield my time to Biden.
And then I'll just be like, oh.
What are you? Can we call you Super Biden? Like what?
Yeah, why do you call me Super Biden?
Honorable.
Give the time back.
It's not honorable chairs.
Yeah, during the moderator's talk is
What would I say? Like thank you.
like
I would,
Vice President
I would
Biden.
say, yeah, I would just say that. Or if you wanted to say
Like if
chair,
you-
that's fine.
like,
It's like
If
time
you want
for
them to respond to something you said, you
Okay,
yield.
are we getting started?
All right.
Moment has arrived.
But not during the speech. It's still like this.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, let's have decorum and let's listen to our first speaker. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Vice President Biden and fellow governors. Hello, I'm the governor of Minnesota. My name is Mark Dayton, and we're here to discuss gun control. My views on gun control are I'm against gun registration. I made that statement November of 2000. I oppose gun licensing and registration. I do like background checks and trigger locks. I have zero tolerance for guns in schools, and I support some licensing and registration with obviously some we gotta watch that and make sure there's some regulations on what that is.
Oh, nice. That's so loud. Okay, yeah, I'll turn the volume down.
Don't Thank you.
So at the conference, we'll have a gavel, which I left in my office, but I'll have that next time we do a mini conference.
You sit back down.
You just say thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, you can start.
I am Governor Brian Sandoval of Nevada. I believe firmly that any sort of restrictions placed on the citizen's ability to acquire a firearm is a violation of our Second Amendment right to bear arms in this country. I proved this as I vetoed legislation otherwise passed in my state to increase the amount of background checks required for a person to purchase a gun. And anything that goes against a citizen's purchase of a firearm in this country is unlawful. And I yield to the chair.
Okay, Idaho.
So that's correct. Is that
Hmm?
That was just about 30. Is that the theoretical goal to be?
Yeah, typically they'll give you just 30 seconds at the beginning. So that's good.
So we're doing 30 or 45?
We're doing 45 because it's a shorter conference, so I want to make sure you guys have the ability to get your ideas out there. So having the extra time is good. Okay. Okay, you could start.
My name is Butch Otter, and I'm the governor of Idaho. The Idaho Constitution states that no law shall impose licensure, registration, or special taxation on the ownership or possession of firearms or ammunition, nor shall any law permit the confiscation of firearms, especially those actually used in the commission of a felony. In our great state, Idahoans may openly carry guns without a license because as citizens of the United States, it is our inalienable right to protection of ourselves and of our loved ones. Therefore, Idaho will not conform to gun control laws. If the federal government were to put into place gun control laws, they would not only be interfering with our Second Amendment right, but also with our 10th Amendment, which states,
You could kind of just wrap
Yeah.
up. Yeah, you could do like one last sentence. Yeah.
It says the powers are not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited to by the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the union. So, states' rights.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Okay, Alaska. So best delegate, Kingswood, Oxford.
Hi. I'm Senator-elect, newly Senator-elect Dan Sullivan from Alaska, and I believe that gun control is not the answer to gun violence. As we've seen many times before in Massachusetts and just last year in Maryland, gun control does not work. In fact, in an example of Massachusetts, the motor rate almost doubled from 65 in 1998 when it was published to 122 in 2011. If we want to change the gun statistics, let's stop infringing rights of citizens, loosen up restrictions, and start focusing on the actual criminals who are committing these heinous crimes.
Okay, Oregon.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ron Whitem. I am the Senator of Oregon. And although the state of Oregon recognizes the right that we have in our Second Amendment to bear arms, we also recognize the fact of how antiquated this system is. Currently, it was put in place from our forefathers put it in place so that we can be protected in case our government ever betrayed us. Nevertheless, this is a reality that gets farther and farther every day. We still believe that people should hold this right, but we need work on how we enforce these laws and how we can prevent guns from getting in people with the wrong hands. So we look forward to working with all of you.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's good to say something like that. Like, we look forward to collaborating on a resolution regarding this. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, you could start.
Hey y'all, I'm the governor of Texas and I'm prepared. I believe that gun controls take away from America and family values. We fought for rights in America in the Revolutionary War, which we used guns. Prayer is stronger than law. It's completely stronger than law. And I believe in anything against gun control because it just hurts us. And yeah, thanks. Governor right there.
Re-elected, please.
Not re-elected.
Howdy, y'all. My name is, what is my name? My name is Ted Cruz, and I am Senator from the great state of Texas. Now, I believe that any anti-gun laws are a direct infringement on our Second Amendment rights. I believe that these are an egregious breach, and they should not be passed. You see, these laws are simply ineffective, and furthermore, they punish innocent people while allowing the criminals who we should be punishing to go free and do whatever they want. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you will work with me to protect the life, liberty, safety, and pursuit of happiness of our great citizens. Thank you for your time.
So,
Yeah, I think egregious is a SAT vocab word you could use almost in any committee. It just means extreme, over the top. Yeah, like it's egregious. Yeah. Yeah, maybe something that would be helpful is if we had kind of like a list of words you can almost always use. You know, like that's one of them. You know, I would know these, yeah, and to work on that. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, but I don't think they'll put it together, yeah. Do you guys, those of you who were at the conference last year, do you feel like the people who won, they used this kind of sophisticated vocabulary? So quite a lot of them, yeah.
It was honestly, it wasn't even about like their knowledge. It was about like four main things. How they looked. They all
It's a
wore
big
like,
part of it.
all in suits or like really nice dresses if they were girls. How they carried themselves. Like, they were always the last ones to leave the room. They were always talking to each other. How what they said like in terms of like vocabulary and like how many friends they made right off the bat.
I think you make a really great point, and I think that's
Yeah, in the middle school one, it's a lot different. I mean, they didn't really use that much big vocabulary.
Right.
It was more that if you like, for example, if you stayed, like what John said, if you stayed with the chairs a lot, they noticed that. And also, if you basically just, you always raise your hand, you had something to say. But also, some people would raise their hands and just have like 2 words to say, and that annoys them. So.
Right. And they really look favorably upon you just moving the discussion forward and helping make the discussion logical and coherent. So anything you could do to help with that, they really
and if you're pretty specific
like
on
that.
a specific part of the topic, they like a lot instead of just a general like. Instead of saying Afghanistan, you say Kandahar province, Afghanistan, or something.
That's a good point.
So showing your knowledge as much as possible. We should probably.
Yep. Okay, who's next? Okay. Sure. Yeah. Can you remind me? Are you Pennsylvania? Okay, I'll just move you down, and then who wants to get added? Delaware. Okay. Yeah, let's add you. Do you want to go now? Or in like 2 people or something like that?
I'll go in 2 people.
Okay. So after Oklahoma.
So who's next? California?
California?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I am Governor Jared Brown of California. As a governor who has served for 2 terms, I signed a gun control law for eliminating an exception for certain semi-automatic pistols in 2013. The reason is simple, because of the public safety. People are emotional, which means there will be times they cannot control their movement. This creates a fear, the fear that one's life is dependent on others, the fear that one has to obey somebody to keep themselves alive. If you give a person a gun, you give the person the ability to kill and the possibility to kill. Because of the preciousness of life, people have to reduce the possibility to be killed to minimum. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Nan Dam, and I am the senator of Oklahoma. And right now I'm currently working on changing the Senate bill because I believe that people in Oklahoma should not have any background checks, and they should be able to carry a gun at all times, including schools, libraries, supermarkets, anywhere. Because I believe that if people use guns for bad reasons, it's not because they're mentally ill, it's because they have evil in their heart and they're not children of God, and this is true. And this has nothing to do with their mental health or anything like that. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I am Governor Bob McDonnell from the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I would like to represent the views tonight of the people, the good people of that state. And I recognize all the things that other delegates have brought up here, and I want to encourage that we think with not our hearts, but our heads. And the gut reaction of things like Sandy Hook is to just eradicate guns. But we must know that with our heads, we can come to a solution that involves not going back on the ideals of our founding fathers, but into the future with the ideas. Well, thank you. Is that even a Virginia accent? I just kind of wanted to do
It's
it.
southern.
No.
It sounded Virginia.
We like it. Okay. Good start.
Hello, my name is Michael Bloomberg. I'm the former mayor of New York City, and obviously as the former mayor of one of the most dangerous countries in the world, gun control is a big issue to me. I firmly believe that we should limit the production of guns and the selling of guns, and I firmly also believe in background checks for people that own guns. And I think this issue doesn't have to be Democrats versus Republicans. I'm an independent, and if you feel that the country should be safer, please come find me. I yield my time. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah. Can someone say, I mean, I know why I thought that was really good and smart, but did anyone else observe something really strategic about that? I saw John first.
She just made herself neutral for the entire debate.
Right. And it's just such an agreeable thing that you said. Like, if you'd like to make our country safer, you know, who could disagree with that? It's just very appealing, so that was really good. Anything else that you guys noticed, or that was kind of like the main takeaway? It was just so agreeable. Yeah. Yeah, that's good too. Yeah, because it shows you know. I think it's really confusing, but at this time you can say it, right? Yeah.
Well, you can whenever, it's just you're wrong. If you don't speak useless.
Okay, yeah, so at the beginning you can say it, so it's a smart thing to do at the beginning.
Yeah, you can't yield your time. I found that out really awkward hard way.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I yield my time and they were mod, and they were like, yeah, no, that's not saying.
Wait, so can you
Just be like, my advisor is terrible.
to someone who's going to help you argue, basically?
During the speakers list, you can yield to the chair. During any other time, you can yield to another delegate.
Can I tell a really mean story about that?
Yeah.
I was at a conference, and there was a girl who was not talking, and someone...
Oh, yeah, I saw this happen.
Yeah, so someone who was just kind of like a jerk did their speech, and it was like 5 seconds long, and they're like, I yield my time to this person.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't agree with this person, they just like wanted to embarrass her because she wasn't talking.
Yeah.
So don't do it like that, because it's just
I don't want to sound like...
Yeah, it's really aggressive to yield to somebody who's obviously shy.
Because
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to say like, oh, look how much better I am.
Yeah. Yeah, and the chairs don't like that. And I saw that happen one time, and then the next person who got up to speak was like, the delegate from Djibouti would like to say that that was just mean. And it turned into this like ridiculous conversation. John?
Yeah, well, that kind of happened, like, I kind of heard that to someone.
Oh.
but it was after like, he gave a speech about how I was just wrong. So I was like, well, like, I liked where he was going with how wrong I was. So I would just like to hear more. I get my time.
I think like, especially if somebody who is opposing you, you can tell they don't have a lot to back up what they're saying, then you could do it and it'd be strategic. You just have to be really careful about
it.
it.
That, but at the time I wasn't thinking like that. I just kind of
Yeah. Usually it's more like you'd yield to somebody who's going to help support your view, usually.
Doesn't really end up doing that.
Yeah, but usually it's a kind of like passive aggressive type thing that people are doing, yeah. Okay, is Arizona next? Yeah.
Good evening. I am Senator John McCain of Arizona. My philosophy is to let law-abiding citizens possess guns and remove any federal restrictions from them being able to do so, but also to prosecute criminals to the fullest extent of the law possible. We have tried to prohibit certain items in our history in this fine, fine country. Look at the 18th Amendment. We tried to get rid of alcohol. How did that work out? Not very well. To be honest, remember that the law only applies to law-abiding citizens. Criminals look at the law and laugh. Why would we make laws to prohibit our own people who uphold those laws from doing certain things? I would just like to say, let's not let what happens to the 18th Amendment happen to the Second.
Who's Indiana?
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Two Indianas?
All farther to you?
Well, there's only 50
Oh, did I skip someone?
states, so
You skipped
Oh, sorry, I skipped Arkansas. Sorry, I got confused. Who's Arkansas? Okay, sorry, Cheryl.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Bibby, the governor of Arkansas. I am against most of the gun control laws and ideas. As a constructive southern states, we have our own state's culture. Most of the civilians prefer outdoor recreations, for example, hunting and fishing. Also, we like to use gun as a self-defense weapon to avoid any threat to our citizens. Therefore, we confirm with gun ownership and support National Rifle Association, and we against any change of Second Amendment. Sorry, that's all.
I actually have a question.
Yes.
Do you yield your time to the chair when you're out of time?
In the speakers list, that's what you were saying, right? Patrick, in the speakers list, you yield your time to the chair. Yes. If you have time
If you're out of time, like I was.
Oh, then you don't. You just try to wrap it
You
up.
have no time to yield.
Right.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah, it's just if you have extra time. Mhm. Yeah, and Patrick, you'll remind all of us about that when I tell you the wrong thing right before the convocation. Okay. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Pence, and I'm in charge of the state of Indiana from the year 2013. In terms of the United States, the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, we believe that to limit the United States and especially the citizens of Indiana in their right to actually possess a gun is a crime, because we are trying to. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Can I do it again?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just am not a very good public speaker.
Oh, I think everyone who's become comfortable with public speaking would agree it's all about becoming desensitized to it, so this is perfect, yes. It's just practice, yeah.
Is it just better when I read it, or can I actually like?
You can do either. You could read, or you could like read and look up. One thing, if you like, I never even thought about this, but if you're gonna read, you probably want to double space it or space it some way that will make it easier to read. So you could read, or you could speak just from your memory. Either is cool. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'll give you.
Just a tip about public speaking.
Yeah.
No one really likes to public speak. Like, I don't like public speaking, but I do it every single week at morning meeting. And you know, you just kind of have to just pretend. If you can pretend enough, you can trick yourself into thinking that it's fine.
Right. Like I hate public speaking, and I'm the advisor for this.
Like, did you guys all hear me choke on my own spit at morning meeting?
I thought you were being dramatic. I thought you were like, please don't eat.
No, like I was speaking and my throat just went, and like I choked on it. I don't even know what it was, but it was like so
I
weird.
thought you were like, we didn't raise any money.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm glad it worked for the people who didn't catch that, but you just have to kind of like, it's like acting. You're just acting. You're going up there, you're acting, you're speaking, it's about how you hold your body, and don't apologize if you mess up, just keep going. Or what I'll do if I say something wrong, if I say, blah, 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 and then I say something wrong, I say, or this, rather.
Yeah, rather's a good way to correct
So
yourself.
it's like, I'm the governor of Connecticut, or Virginia, rather. It sounds like I meant to say that, but.
It's so charming.
Also, you don't know anybody.
Right, that's a good point. Right, you don't know anybody. Right, and nobody knows if you dislike public speaking. Like, one thing I realized is that if I tell people I hate public speaking, it makes me a worse public speaker, because then I'm thinking about that when I go up to in front of the whole
But
school.
also be
Yeah.
prepared for the fact that a lot of the other kids are gonna be really good public speakers. So, it's so. I don't want to say to make anyone nervous, but like make sure that you're prepared to speak well, because you're going to be competing with people who are really, really.
Yeah, and you'll just get better and better with practice. Yeah.
And the thing,
John and then Swift.
And then the thing that I think is like, cause you can't really become, like, I don't think you can become like that good at public speaking because like, you just speak all the time. I think the only thing that like makes you a not so good public speaker is the nerves.
Right, I think that's true. Mm-hmm.
Because, and like, the only thing that like makes me like less nervous that, like, I was terrified the first time with the Maui one.
Mm-hmm.
I was in 6th grade or 7th grade when
Mm-hmm.
I went. And then I just thought about like, you know, talking to kids, me being the same age as some of the kids that were sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought about like how much I probably wasn't paying attention
Yeah.
to the
Mm-hmm.
person talking, which is kind
Right.
of not a good strategy.
Right.
But it's kind of a way to like psych yourself into like, none of these people are even listening to what I have to say, so I might as well.
That's totally
But,
true.
like,
You're
it's-
totally
yeah.
right. Most people are more preoccupied with what they're gonna say, so
Yeah.
they're not actually paying much attention to you. Mhm.
But I think because I think this is really important, public speaking, especially at Mountain View. That's so true. Like when I'm at morning meeting, I understand that literally like 80% of the audience is not listening to anything that comes out of my
Right.
mouth. But at the same time, you know, you want them to listen and you want to make it interesting. But think about the fact that, you know, here we're all talking now, you're still up there, you know, and you're still in front of the whole room, but you're not as nervous, obviously, because the attention is over here and not on you, but when the
Mhm.
attention comes back, just think of it as the same, like, right now, it's just like all about where people's focus is, and, like, I don't know what to say, you just gotta act, pretend, and just go along with it, because people don't care as much as you think they do.
Yeah,
and
and-
people aren't gonna remember when you mess up.
Yeah, I just remembered you did speak in public at the ADL and you did such a good job.
It was
Yeah.
it was just different because like, I mean, I prepare this and I kind of want to, I do want to follow the pattern. And I get very insecure of myself if I like don't. And it messes up all the thing.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that
so
happens to me too. If you change one word, then it
Yes.
messes you up pretty bad.
And so it's not quite as rigid as that. I think
Mhm.
that's one of the points too, that you can see there are different presentation styles. So there isn't necessarily, there are rules around this, but it's not so rigid that you can't have some naturalness in the way you present your statement.
You just have to know yourself. I mean, you have to know if you can change one word and then deal with the rest of the sentence afterward, or if it's going to throw you off a lot. Yeah.
So there are two parts to it. One
Right.
is knowing your pre-planned script.
Yeah.
And the other part is how carefully do
Mhm.
I have to follow a protocol in the way I speak when I am in this conference.
Mhm. Right.
Am I allowed to ad-lib? Am I allowed to sort of, so, you know, if you know
Yeah, it's
your
whatever
position
you figure
well,
out, yeah.
you don't have to read the script. We saw it here tonight, others came up, they spoke. They didn't have, you know, Tommy didn't have any paper. He knew the person he was representing well enough that he could just speak. But I was also going to offer, you know, I'm happy to work with anyone during extra help time if you want to come to my office. Not that I'm a professional public speaking coach, but I've had some experience. I was a member of this Toastmasters Club. I have some ideas, and just if you want to have somebody to stand up and talk, you know, have something that you're going to be speaking about, to just practice, particularly the timed portion. You know, I think that's helpful to practice saying something within 30 seconds. That's all.
Right.
But I feel like part of it is that some of us are international students, so speaking in English in front of like
Oh, yes.
all Americans
Definitely.
is kind of like
One thing that's good is a ton of students at the conference are not going to be native English speakers.
I
Right.
think when Ms. Swift said that, though, the same thing, like, I don't want to sound like really arrogant, but, you know, like, I do public speak a lot, and I do theater. I haven't done it this year, but I do it every single year, and every single week and all the time, so I can help you with that. And when you say, you know, it's like speaking another language, this is a lot different, and that's true, but it's like when you get to the core of it, it's all about being confident, and that being confident sounds better even if you don't know what you're saying. So like I can get up there and be so confident.
We
and
should
literally
make you
just
guys say
talk
what Miss
out
South Carolina
nonsense.
said, but with confidence.
Yeah.
We should make
like
you
if I
guys
went up there and be like, you guys should all know that up in the White House you have an alien living inside the body of the President of the United States. Like, you just be like it makes no sense. But if you're confident, people will listen to you, and then they might even agree. Like, oh my God, yeah, maybe Obama is.
Yeah, that's a good.
We
should do that.
That's
Yeah.
a good point, and I think having this kind of coaching environment where you talk about stuff like confidence, a lot of it is how you stand, you know, breathing, putting your even though you only have 30 seconds or 45 seconds, do not feel like it's a rush to the finish. If you say 5 things, but make it enunciated, careful, emphasis, taking your time, pacing yourself. I do think that's more important than trying to get out a whole lot of information in 45 seconds.
How about John and Paula? And then pretty soon we should get back. Okay.
Another really, really important, helpful thing is just to understand. Like, I know it's bad, and we all want to think like we're really, really prepared all the time. But if you like trip up or something and you mess up, and you say something that your country or your person, governor does not actually believe, don't like sweat it and just don't correct yourself.
Most people won't know.
Don't correct yourself.
Right.
Yeah, don't correct
Even the
yourself.
chairs
Just
might not
like,
know.
move on, because I've spent so much time researching my person. I didn't have time to look into what your guy thinks. So I have no idea. Like, you could tell me like the actual what he thinks from, and if you say from the start, I'm gonna have no idea. I'm not gonna know any different. So don't like.
Yeah, like I just said that I was the mayor of a dangerous country, but
I
no one
can really say that.
Yeah, like no one really picked up on that.
I didn't notice that at all.
I noticed it, but what I thought was a positive thing was that, and I thought about this too with Tommy, like making a statement that gives you credibility. Like if you bring up Sandy Hook, that like right away, that's that emotional, maybe gives credibility to the speaker, you know, that's like big plate, that's a big playing card to throw out. You know, I'm the mayor of one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. Okay, maybe you have some authority here that the rest of us from, you know, Ohio or Iowa or one of those other Midwestern states doesn't have that kind of authority.
Paula, did you have something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that it's way better when you don't overthink things way too much, because I know like when I did the ADL thing, I prepared for it for like a month, and I freaked out so many times. Because when you actually do it and you go up there, it's way easier than you think. Like you just have to like focus on what you're reading. Like don't think about, oh, I look so stupid or things like that. Just like focus on what you're reading, be confident, and you'll be just fine. And if you mess up, just take a pause, breathe, and just keep going, and no one will stop.
Okay. I kind of want. Tommy, can you say this with conviction, and then we'll let Valentina finish? Okay.
I don't want you to do it sounding like her.
You want to sound like her?
Okay, yeah.
But try to sound confident.
Okay, I'll do confident. I personally believe that the U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa, and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so that we will be able to build up our future for our children. Thank you.